Here we go. Here we go. Round 5. We are still in standard. I'm Rashad Miller here with Brian David Marshall, and we're going to watch one of the most innovative deck builders in our history. That's not him. That's Patrick Cox, but he's a great player too. We're pretty sure he's playing John.
He's actually, in a lot of ways, Conley's opposite. He's generally pretty conservative. Someone who likes to play the best deck, plays, kind of in the mid-range of Magic a lot.
Sign in blood.
Here we see Sign in Blood. And as a Magic player, Sign in Blood on turn 2, you know that this is
something.
This is
something
a little
sweet is
a little
happening.
kind of mono black or nearly mono black action.
Now we did mention that it was mono black, but it looks like we have a little bit of red. And why not splash some color when you're playing any deck in this wonderful magnificent mana fixed format? So we have a couple of spots for Scully Woods. He just played Sign in Blood. And Pat Cox has an assortment of dual lands and or non-basic lands that gives him the Jund colors. He just played a Farseek. He's probably going to get another land that can tap for 2 colors. It's an Overgrown Tomb. So we're both. So Patrick Cox, he's setting up. Conley Woods, he's trying to get the cards he needs so that he can start mounting his offense or, disrupt his opponent's game plan.
So take a look at some of the cards in Pat Cox's hand. He's got a Vampire Nighthawk, a Thragtusk, a Rakdos Return, a couple Dragon Skull Summits. So he's able to start going to work here.
Yeah, not a lot of action on the board, but there's a lot of getting ready to do some action. And there's a Thragtusk.
Now let's take a look at what's going on in Conley's hand. Boom. There's a Cryptghast. There's a Gristlebrand.
There's
another Gristlebrand. There's a Dreadboard.
A Victimite, Mutilate.
I've heard from people in playtesting, Conley Woods would get exasperated with his teammates when he said, I don't understand how you guys don't see that Gristlebrand is just the same exact card as Sphinx's Revelation. Sorry.
It does the same thing. Like a little bit here, a little bit there, at different times, in a way. It's not the same card.
No,
but
it's not.
I can see how someone can see that as the same card. So the Thragtusk hits the graveyard, and we get a 3/3 beast token to take its place.
Cryptghast comes down for Conley Woods,
which also has Extort, which I don't know how much of a game plan that is, but
could matter.
A point here and there could matter.
Master, gain 2, make a guy.
Yeah, you're at 27.
Looks like a Huntmaster of the Fells going to hit the board, and here comes the Wolf Buddy.
2/2.
Yeah, something up there.
Looks like we have a battle of the control decks in the back table with Raphael Levy versus David Gleicher. But someone has the Drown Yard already, so that game could go a lot quicker than most control mirrors do.
Right. So Victimite takes out the
and that looks like
Cryptghast,
Mutilate.
and then Mutilate takes out everything else.
Yep, Mutilate gives all creatures -X, -X, where X. The number of swamps you control, you have 3 swamps because that's a Dragon Skull Summit, but that was enough to get rid of everything.
So 5.
Oh, well, that sounds very good. On the back table, Andrew Cuneo, also on the Aristocrats, paired up his Falcon Wrath Aristocrats with a Silverblade Paladin.
Oh, that's quite the couple.
Yeah. I told you. It's filthy. There's a Rakdos Return from Pat Cox.
That gets rid of Conley's hand except for one card. It looks like he left
Staffinen in his hand.
Staffinen in his hand, yeah. So, Sign in Blood, 2 life is going to give Conley Woods 2 of those cards back.
But he's down to 11 here.
There's a bunch of mana and another Huntmaster of the Fells. It's going to gain 2 more life for Patrick Cox. He's at a healthy 29, I believe he's going to be at after that resolves and we get our score updated.
Go.
Conley Woods is at 9, and he just played that Staffinen, which allows him to draw extra card each turn, and he can tap it to deal 1 damage to target creature or player.
There we see Conley's just down to a
5 spot.
in hand. Fall. I mean, he's going to start drawing 2 cards a turn here, thanks to Staffinen.
Right. Now, there wasn't any spells pass, so we're going to get Huntmaster of the Fells. We have a trigger on this deck where it's going to transmail to
Go to 3.
Ravager of the Fells.
Trigger.
And it does, and it deals 2 damage to Conley Woods, along with being a 4/4 trampler. 2 more cards for Conley. Plays a swamp.
Yeah, you got it.
And he says you got it.
Victim of Night cannot kill a werewolf, if I remember.
It cannot kill a werewolf. And Patrick Cox leads 1-0.
All right, you saw very early in the match there. We saw Thragtusk come down for Pat Cox. That's a card that's really dominated Standard since it was printed.
Wondering which guild is right for you? Take the guild quiz at guildsofravnica.com and then declare your allegiance on planeswalkerspoints.com to earn special badges and achievements. So, we were talking about guilds, and I know you've been strong Simic for quite a long time. And I've been Selesnya at heart, but then I bought this hat. This hat that I'm wearing, it's so sweet and so Golgari, and it's like I went back.
I got to tell you, the brand team is very happy that you have begun to contextualize hats and other clothing items in terms of what guild they represent.
But it went back to me playing The Rock and his Minions back when it was not The Rock and his Minions. I remember how much I loved it. I think I actually am Golgari. Let's take a look at Thragtusk, because this guy's been tearing it up since he's been printed on Magic cards.
Yeah.
And there he is. He's a 5/3 for 5 mana. When Thragtusk enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. When Thragtusk leaves the battlefield, put a 3/3 beast token onto the battlefield. And note that it says when it leaves the battlefield and not when it dies. That is so key at it being so much better than you think it could be.
In the last Magic Online cube, I got him going with Trade Wind Rider.
Wow. I mean, I just want to get it going with, I just want to, momentary blink it just once. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, me too now.
It's already appeared in Grand Prix, in 22 Grand Prix top 8 decks.
Right. And obviously, any deck that's looking to tempo you or bounce something, Azori, we saw Azorius Charm as a form of removal. Bouncing an attacking creature to the top of your deck.
Pretty good draw.
Not that exciting when it leaves a 3/3 in its place.
Yeah, you still get the beast.
And you're going to gain 5 life when you play it again next turn.
Yeah, and if you happen to be playing with contested cliffs, you can do that. But no one plays with that card anymore. There we go, being old again. We got to stop being old. Stop doing it, Brian David Marshall. You're making me think of old Magic cards.
By the way, Conley's deck name, we referred to how really people cheer for mono black. You always have people wanting the mono black control deck to do well.
I always want to see it do well.
Yeah, that's why his deck is called Black by popular demand.
I'm actually glad that I didn't see that paper before you told me the name of it, and that is definitely a Hollywood name right there. I want to play this deck now. Only to say that that's the deck that I'm playing, so that I can say the deck name over and over and over.
So, looking at his sideboard, we see, cards like Duress, Pithing Needle, etc. What are you thinking? What are you thinking he's bringing in here?
Oh, man.
I look at Pat Cox's
So
sideboard.
if I'm Conley Woods, I didn't really get a lot going. This is the thing that a lot of mono black decks have a problem with. You either have to be very good at destroying creatures or very good at interacting with your opponent by way of destroying their hand. And I think that maybe Duresses might be a good thing to do, just so that you'll have an early play to interact with Pat Cox's deck. Maybe just being able to get a Farseek out of their hand just to slow them down that much.
Keep that Thragtusk one turn off.
Yeah, and you know what? Something like Underworld Connections is probably a good thing to do just so that you have a steady stream of cards, because Pat Cox isn't doing a lot of damage that fast. At least he didn't in that game, and there isn't a real reason to believe that he will the next game.
Interestingly, Pat Cox also has Underworld Connections in his sideboard, and I could see him bringing that in as well.
I think it's going to become this match can easily become a grind where both players are just trying to get a better power position, and Conley Woods just wants to destroy your hand while drawing cards, trying to get to those threats, and Patrick Cox just wants to stay ahead of that card disadvantage that Conley Woods is forcing upon him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Rakdos Return was obviously also a huge card for him.
Oh, yeah.
And I could see him bringing in another copy.
Yeah, and obviously Conley Woods is playing Rakdos Return also. He has one in his deck. He has one in his sideboard, so he's probably going to go up to 2. He also has 3 Slaughter Gates, which if he wants to really get rid of, say, a Thragtusk before a Thragtusk can get cast, that's the perfect way to do it.
Sure. And by the way, Pat Cox also has Slaughter Games. If he has any idea what Conley's up to, which he might not at this point.
I mean, so both of these players. I mean, did they make their sideboards together? What's going on here? Did they just decide these are the good cards for the type of deck we're playing? Because these decks are really similar, except Conley's doing it with just black cards.
And the core of Conley's decks is really Cryptcast and Gristlebrand.
Oh, and I think we found the Gloom Surgeons.
Yeah,
we found them.
This
We were
is a card
wondering where they were.
There's a little rush on those at the dealer tables also.
Yeah, so here we go. We are in game 2. Conley Woods leads off with a Blood Crypt, which gives him red mana and is a swamp for his Cryptcast. Very relevant. Cryptcast and Mutilate. There's a couple of cards in Conley Woods' deck that relies on a card being a swamp.
You're getting an extension for this too, by the way.
What?
You're getting an extension for this also. Like,
Yeah.
So Andrew Cuneo is up a game in his match against
Ben Freeman.
Ben Freeman, a cartel aristocrat. After the long and ridiculous process was going on, everything was the Falconwrath aristocrat, I should say, survived, was indestructible, survived through a supreme verdict, and then was able to finish the job.
That's usually what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And we have an Overgrown Tomb for Pat Cox, and we have a swamp into Sign in Blood for Conley Woods. Draws 2 cards, goes down to 18, but he's trying to get his hand just right so that he can either put some pressure on.
I'm curious to see if he's able to actually resolve a Cryptcast and untap and resolve another spell.
Like Grizzlebrand?
Like Gristlebrand. I mean, it seems difficult to do. People have so much removal. How is he handling that? How is he protecting that?
Yep, and there's a Farseek for Pat Cox, and he passed the turn back to Conley Woods. And look like is that a second Sign in Blood that's being cast?
Yes, it is.
And so Conley Woods is at 16. We actually didn't update the last Sign in Blood, so he's 16 from 2 Sign in
All right,
Blood.
let's take a look at what these guys have in their hands here. So, Pat Cox, Liliana the Veil, Vampire Nighthawk, 2 Huntmaster of the Fells, a Rakdos Return, and an Overgrown Tomb.
Look at how aggressive those mana bases are.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
I mean, we knew that coming in. When you have all 10 shock lands and all the lands that care about basic land types, you could do quite a bit. Here comes a Huntmaster.
Huntmaster of the Fells is going to gain 2 life. He's going to get a 2/2 Wolf token. Looks like, he saved the foil Huntmaster of the Fells for game 2.
Let's take a look at Conley's deck. At Conley's hand, he's actually looks like he's drawn a Liliana of the Veil to add to that,
which is going to help out a lot. He has Devour Flesh, but with the Huntmaster of the Fells, it really isn't as effective as it could be.
Right.
He has another Sign in Blood. That would be his 3rd Sign in Blood.
Cards?
Yeah, 5.
Looks like we're going to go with the Liliana. Not sure yet. A lot of consideration.
We know that Conley, who went 2-1 in draft, won with this deck last round.
Right?
Sacrifice creature.
Liliana of the Veil.
So sacrifice a creature. Obviously, the token goes away.
It also keeps the Huntmaster of the Fells from transforming to Rapture of the Fells.
Playing a spell there, pretty important.
Yeah, and if Pat Cox decides to try to, not cast a spell to allow his creature to transform,
all the better.
Well, Conley Woods also has the
Devour
Flesh
yeah,
to,
absolutely.
To change that into a very bad.
That would be ideal
tempo
in
form.
some ways.
Yeah. Looks like we have the race between Double Drown Yard and Man or Gargoyle.
Sounds like Double Drown Yard's winning for Ivan Flock against Portaro. Yeah.
Oh, it was the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Right. The Slovak players
Yeah.
have the mana gargoyles.
Is it a man or a gargoyle?
I don't know.
I just don't know.
Here we see Underworld connections.
There it is.
Connections.
Brought in just like we thought.
Okay.
It's a pair of Huntmaster of the Fells going for Pat Cox.
Yeah, these Huntmaster of the Fells are doing a very good job of making like Lilianas and Devour Fleshes not so good.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty bad matchup for Conley.
Attack with 2 Huntmaster of the Fells and a 2/2 Wolf. Conley just has to take it.
Right
And he's probably going to use that Underworld connection to draw a card, so that's going to be another life loss. It's going to bring him down to 9.
These are both going to transform.
Oh my. That would be very damaging.
Yeah, and we know that there's a Rakdos return waiting in Pat Cox's hand to finish the job.
Not only does it make you discard your hand, but it deals X damage to you as well.
Right. There's a he uses the mana to cast Devour Flesh instead at the end of the turn.
9.
Yes.
Yeah, so he goes down to 9 to draw a card, and he draws a Vampire Nighthawk.
So double Drown Yard for Alessandro Portaro is the game winner.
Oh,
against-
it's faster than Mana Gargoyle?
It is.
Seems about right.
So that's how you would have.
Yeah,
That's how you would have sketched it up.
Yeah, I played it out in my mind. That's exactly what happened. So Vampire Nighthawk hits the battlefield for Conley Woods. It's going to play a little bit of defense. You know, the lifelink is good. The death touch is good. That's exactly what Conley needs to try to crawl back into this game. Still staring down double Huntmaster of the Fells. 3 mana for Pat Cox, and there's a Liliana de Veil of his own. That's going to get rid of Vampire Nighthawk right away.
And now Conley is right in the range of being finished off with a Rakdos return.
Exactly. He goes down to 5 life. Vampire Nighthawk joins the
Dick.
battlefield for Pat Cox. And now Conley he's got to do something right now. I think he just drew a Mutilate.
Did he draw? But I don't think that's going to be enough.
4.
No. Yeah.
And he goes down to 4. Conley is just playing as if there isn't a Rakdos return, but he just drew a Duress. Wow! Wow! Gets the Rakdos return with the Duress.
Diesel.
Wow, now that Mutilate is exactly enough. Mutilate wipes the
Okay.
board. Now we got another game. Now we have to worry about it as a Liliana, right?
Any
Or-
red spell?
Or at most red spells.
Actually, he doesn't really have many.
Well, Huntmaster of the Fells threatens to deal some direct damage next turn. It also puts 2 creatures on the board for Pat Cox.
Discard.
Both discard.
Which Pat Cox is fine to do because he doesn't have any cards in hand. Well, there's Dreadbore
But he still has to deal.
3.
with both of the Huntmaster and friends. Is that a Grizzlebrand?
It is. I don't think he can do it,
There's
though.
not enough mana
In the world.
in the world.
First true damage.
Crypt Gas would give him 6 mana after he, casts that spell. It also gives him a blocker.
Right. And then he can Dreadbore
The Liliana, so that
or,
he keeps his
or,
blocker.
or a creature.
Red
Oh,
black.
yeah.
Kicker.
And he gets to extort and gain life.
Yes, that's.
This is actually relevant. I think Conley's deciding what he wants to Dreadbore. He might need to Dreadbore the Huntmaster of the Fells, which he does, to stop that extra 2
27 to
damage
4.
that's free. So Conley Woods' Storts goes up to 4. Pat Cox is left with a Liliana and a 2/2 Wolf token. No cards in hand. He just drew something. Not sure what it is.
So does Conley get to untap and play Gristlebrand?
It's a Duress. He shows him Grizzlebrand, which
You have choices.
Pat Cox doesn't crack a smile, doesn't sigh. He's just like, yep.
Oh, he's like, we're going to discard. He makes him discard the
Yeah.
Griselbrand with Liliana. But now he...
Yeah, Conley has to decide if he wants to block, but there was no attack.
He just passes.
Just passes the turn. He's going to get. This is giving Conley Woods more cards. Draws a Liliana and a Dragon Skull
Liliana
Summit.
plus drain you.
Yes, and extort.
Go to 4.
Wow.
You go to
Now to
20.
destroy your Liliana, deal 1 damage to you. I gain 1 life.
Go.
Each one of these extorts is 1 extra card he gets to draw of that Underworld connections.
Go to 2.
Conley goes to 2.
Draws. He's going to go down to 1. He has to find something. Rakdos' Return. You know, it's just a spell, but it gains him a life.
No,
Right?
it loses. It causes his opponent to lose life.
Well, I mean, and then extort trigger.
14.
No,
including
yeah,
red.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's going to leave 1
Rakdos
mana up.
returns
There's
for
the 1
12.
mana. He's going to extort. He needs
So
that
you
1
take
life.
13.
Each one of those lives is a card drawn, and probably, you know, Crypt Gas is going to block this one time.
Yes, I
This
think
is
so.
14 mana, and this is 15. Put you at 13, and I go to 2.
Looks like we got a Drown Yard feature match in all the games we aren't watching because.
Well, they'll still be there when we're ready.
Yeah. So David Gleicher
So by
wins.
the way, he just took 13 life away from Pat Cox there
Oh wow!
with that Crypt Gas backed.
I forgot I forgot about the double swamp activation. Yeah, that was quite the fireball. But David Gleicher leads 1-0
And
over
now
Raphael
Underworld
Levy.
Connections on the other side of the table.
Uh-oh. So both players can draw 2 cards a turn, and there's a block that we know we were going to see because Conley was at 2. So he draws, he sees a swamp, he's going to go down to 1. Conley draws an Underworld Connections. That's not going to do it.
Not the best card right now.
So it's not the best card right now, and he plays it.
Go.
Plays a land, he has 1 card in hand. And we see there's a Dragon Skull Summit.
10, 11.
He's got to hope that Pat Cox doesn't get anything very aggressive right now. It looks like they're both just playing Drago.
Go.
Except, yeah, Cox is playing Drago.
Yeah.
Pat Cox goes down to 10, draws an extra card, and there's a Thrag Tusk.
We're just breaking off like a storm here. That's a Thrag Father.
Thrag Father, as commonly refers to things. Sign in Blood. And there's the hand. Conley Woods falls. Pat Cox wins 2-1. 2-0.
I thought for sure you were going to have to just edict there and attack.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was possible I should have fired off Dragnos Return earlier, before you could address me.
Oh, sure.
Not cool now.
I think we're going to get a chance to see Andrew Cuneo in action with the Aristocrats.
The Aristocrats.
I literally drew the rest of you to late.
Ultra Pro is the leading manufacturer of trading card game sleeves and deck boxes. If you're looking for official Gatecrash portfolios, card storage boxes, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats, Ultra Pro has you covered. For more information, visit wizards.com/magic merchandise.
So I think we are going to switch over to the Andrew Cuneo Ben Friedman match.
So I'm at 10, you're at 7. That's it.
And it looks like Andrew Cuneo is leading 1-0 in that match.
So Ben Friedman's playing a blue-white-red. Ben Friedman's playing a blue-white-red deck, and has the Infinite Life combo in it with Boros Reckoner, Azorius Charm, and Boros Charm.
Oh, wow.
You know, and again, those cards are all good.
Yeah.
They all do things on their own.
I love to see cards and decks that do things like that.
But you can gain 1,000,000 life.
Yeah. Just randomly. So it looks like Ben Freeman's at 10, Andrew Cuneo's at 7. Ben Freeman has a Snapcaster Mage and a Boros Reckoner on the board, and Andrew Cuneo has a couple of Spirit tokens, probably from... Looks like
looks
from
like there's a
couple of
Lingering
Doom
Souls exile.
Okay, Lingering Souls exile. I also see the Doom Traveler. Could be a little split.
Yeah.
It's a little splitsies. Spirit gets in for 1. Looks like Ben didn't block it, so Ben's at 9. picks up a Restoration Angel, and we're getting the cards in hand updated as we speak.
So we can show you Andrew Cunio's hand is 2 Falkenrath Aristocrats, 3 Falkenrath Aristocrats, 2 Obsidian Ghost Councils, and oops, a Tragic Slice.
Whoop.
Before you guys sneak off.
Land draw for Andrew Cunio. Looks like he's considering this Tragic Slip. A Spirit Token did die, so it has Morbid, so that will give Boros Reckoner minus 13, but Unsummon puts it back in Ben Freeman's hand.
And you can see Unsummon was a card among a handful of Snapcaster Mage, Restoration Angel, and a pair of Azorius Charms.
You seem very confident. Okay. So Pat, you want 2-0, right? Okay.
You would have got caught it as soon as you said.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
weren't even going to ask. Yeah, just take it. You would have helped me.
You can hear Pat Cox and Conley Woods
No, if
post
you look at deep in your soul, you knew
fun
you were filling that
conversation
wrong.
There you go, Snapcaster Mage is going to Counterflux on the Falkenrath Aristocrat. Little blue, red, white, or blue, red, colorless. Sometimes that's the mana you need to play to counter a spell, and sometimes you play red, white.
Might not
for
be
a
the
Boros
mana you
Reckoner.
want, but it's the mana you deserve.
Sure.
There's a Return of the Reckoner.
And Ben still sitting with a couple of Azorius Charms in his hand. Still has a Restoration
And
Angel.
there is
Actually, 3
Obsidian.
Azorius Charms. Ben is ready for whatever Andrew Cunio can throw at him.
Drains me for
Yeah,
2.
except Obsidian is one of the things he's throwing at him.
Yep, we finally get to see Obsidian hit the battlefield. Obsidian Ghost Council.
All right, I'll go to my end step.
I may have effects.
Okay. This is the beginning of instant.
Beginning of your instant.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I hear that there might be an Achroma's Memorial in
I'm going to risk.
Raphael Levy's deck. Interesting card.
If you see a picture of me smiling on the internet, that's what it is.
Okay. So Alessandro, 2-0 for you.
So I think we are currently in Andrew Cunio's instep, and we are responding to Ghost Council maybe or maybe not leaving the battlefield. And there's an Unsummon, so it goes back to his hand instead of the Exile Zone.
Nice. And Cunio is at
So that's 6, and Ben Freeman just picked up a Searing Spear.
so.
There's an attack
Well,
with everything. Block what
1.
you can, put you at 1.
I'm going to lifelink my squad.
Okay.
So I gain
And
3,
this-
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
That's 8 damage.
And you fall to. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. It is a serious spear.
Oh, Searing Spear you.
Good
Oops.
job.
I apologize.
Right, so that ties
Sounds
up
like
the...
maybe we didn't have the life totals correct.
Yeah, I
there
think
on
the light
bottom.
totals might not have been correctly updated, but
But Ben Friedman had the correct life total.
yep, and he ties that match up at 1 apiece.
So we see that Cunio did bring in the Obsidian Ghost Councils that we were talking about earlier with Sam Black.
Also brought in the
yeah, very-
Tragic Slip, so
Kind of a similar matchup to the previous one we saw, except instead of the I'm looking, I don't see Harvest Pyre
well,
here.
I'll give you some time to look for that.
Okay.
And meanwhile, we'd like to thank Card House Games for being an official card retailer here at Pro Tour Gatecrash. For all things Magic, Card House Games is one of the premier destinations on the internet. For more information, visit cardhouse.com. That's H-A-U-S.
Yeah,
Is that the French way to spell it?
sure. Yeah, it is. Or it's actually the Dutch way to spell it. But a
Oh.
lot of people,
You know, my hat's Dutch. Not this one, but my outdoor hat.
sure.
So is Ben Freeman actually playing the Harvest? Does he have the Harvest Fire?
He doesn't have the Harvest Fire. He's he's playing a much more straightforward kind of like flash looking blue-white deck, but he's got, again, the Azorius Charm and the Boros Charm combo with his Reckoner, and he has the ability to just, oh, by the way, oops, I'm at infinite life.
I mean,
which
really.
I would love to see happen on camera.
How many Boros Reckoner combos do you need for one deck?
Just one.
Just one. See, there you go. He has
Yeah.
one already. He's got one. He's made his choice. We don't need to cram Blasphemous.
He's got a lot of
Axe.
charms in here. He's got Azorius Charm, Izzet Charm, and Boros Charm.
Hey, if you're playing the colors, just play
by
all
the
the
way,
charms.
we have reports of a Chroma's memorial being erected on one of the other tables in the feature match
Wait
area.
a minute. Doesn't that cost 7?
No, sorry, I misunderstood what down meant. It fell to a duress.
Man, Tim Willoughby brings us up just to let us down.
Yeah, it keeps us in place.
So it doesn't look like there were too many sideboard changes for these two players. They're still, I think they've done a lot.
They might have swapped a card in or out on the play.
Yeah, but I think these guys have practiced this matchup, or at least one of them has practiced the matchup, or at least have a game plan for this type of matchup, so they know what cards need to go in, what cards need to take out. Maybe there's something you want to do differently if you're a player on a draw. But a lot of the times, even if things don't work out for that game, you keep the same game plan.
Sure.
Now we have both players with the Star City Games sleeve. Because I know how much you like to see what type of sleeves people are playing. You're a real sleeve aficionado.
I am.
I appreciate that about you.
So if Ben Friedman's name sounds familiar to you, by the way, just like Grand Prix Minneapolis 2012 top 8.
He's a very good Magic player. He actually had some pretty good Pro Tour finishes, I want to say. Maybe top 16 in a couple of
Also Grand Prix Orlando 2012. So two Grand Prix top 8s. And
That's,
yeah, I think done
those
well
are
on
solid performances.
has done well on the open circuit.
I believe both players are keeping their hands, and we are updating it in the hand tool, but we might actually be still considering. Looks like Andrew is looking at his hand, so he's in deep thought.
Sounds like both players are keeping what they've got to work with right now.
And there we go. We have some Magic. Godless Shrine for Andrew Cuneo. He's going to take 2 life because it's untapped. And down comes Champion of the Parish. So turn 1 play. And tapped Hollow Foundry for Ben Friedman. So we're going to see exactly how much damage Ben Friedman is going to take from this champion. There's 1 human and a 2nd Champion of Pariah, and that's enough. So attack for 2 for Andrew Cuneo and a tapped Blood Crypt. Ben Freeman plays his 2nd land, passes the turn back with 2 mana open, threatening a plethora of options with 2 mana at instant speed, which can deal with any of those creatures.
Here comes a Cartel Aristocrat.
And there's a response, a Searing Spear. It's going to take out the Champion of Pariah before it gets a little bit bigger.
Sure.
Cavernous Soul on human.
Yep.
I take 3. I'm at 15. My turn.
Ben Freeman is under siege. Yeah, he is under siege here, right? Like this is.
Yeah, this is the plethora of creatures that you are afraid to see, you know, at your doorstep when you are the anything control deck. Yep, blue, white, red has a lot of options. Definitely has some ways to stabilize.
Getting a look at the hand that Ben Friedman has to work with right here.
He has a Searing Spear, which could help with the creatures that are on board. He has a Boros Reckoner.
And Boros Reckoner certainly is able to.
Yeah, definitely. It could very easily be a 2-for-1.
Start whittling it down. Well, it's a little difficult to be a 2-for-1 on that with the Aristocrat there.
Yeah.
But
And that is the plan. Boros Reckoner comes down. He's going to play defense. Hopefully inspire some creatures to stay back.
you get a look at Andrew Cuneo's hand. He's got a Cartel Aristocrat, a Lingering Souls, and 1 card that he just drew this turn, which is a Doom Traveler.
Andrew Cuneo is a very thoughtful player.
Yes.
And
He's a very thoughtful human.
Yeah, he is. He's and a very nice person as well. He, even though he just drew a 1/1 human creature, there's still lots of things that's going on. Even though Ben Freeman is tapped out, there's a lot of things he has to consider. He has to consider what Ben Freeman's considering by tapping out for Boros Reckoner.
Sure.
And it looks like the plan is to play a second Cartel Aristocrat. It's a little bit off screen. I believe that's what it is. It might be actually be. I believe it is a second Cartel Aristocrat, and the Doom Traveler comes down. So that's 2 counters for the Champion of Pariah. That's going to make it a 5/5.
A 5/5 champion of the parish is.
That's a biggins.
Yeah.
This is reminding me of some Boros drafts I had to play against.
Yeah.
Just dudes and dudes and dudes.
So Reckoner blocks Cartel Aristocrat. He says, I guess I'm taking 6.
Sounds like the Raphael Levy David Gleicher match is tied at 1 apiece. Good chance we're going to be able to get back there if this game goes pretty quickly, and we're going to get to see some more magic.
Yep. I take 5/6.
So sacrifice Doom Traveler, give my
I trigger the Reckoner and
Cartel
it's gonna
Aristocrat
deal 2
protection.
damage, so I'll shoot your other Cartel Aristocrat for 2.
So the trigger is going to target the second Cartel Aristocrat. How important is it to have 2 Cartel Aristocrats for Andrew Cuneo? What do you think?
I don't think it matters that much, but
Figure it out.
it's more important to have a Cartel Aristocrat instead of a Spirit token.
Okay. Fair decision.
I think 1 Aristocrat's probably just fine for him.
Oh, Ben Freeman at 9 life plays a tapped Steam Vent. And I believe he passed the turn. Andrew Cuneo's looking at a Lingering Souls and a newly drawn Obsidian.
There's Counterflux.
And it's nothing left to do, so attack with everyone. That's 2 Cartel Aristocrats, a 5/5 Champion of Pride, and a Doom Traveler. Ben Freeman's at 9 life.
Again, Reckoner blocks an Aristocrat.
And that's going to leave the 5
block
damage
like
from
that.
the Champion of Parish to come through, and the Doom Traveler 1 more. And the sacrifice with 1 cartel is going to give the other one protection from a color, but it was mostly so that we don't have any Boros Reckoner triggers.
Just shuts the Reckoner ability off.
Go.
Ben Freeman at 1 plays land, passes the turn. He only has a Bios Reckler for defense.
Flashback Lingering
And
Souls.
Yep.
Gleicher flashed. Cuneo flashes back the Lingering Souls.
This game just starts.
There's a lot of lethal creatures on Andrew Cuneo's
sure, yeah,
side.
that's fine. Yeah.
It's going to be tough for Ben Freeman to not die to one of them.
Yeah, just. Okay.
I believe we are still pre-combat. What cards are Andrew Cuneo considering right now? What is it stopping him from just swinging with everything without any thought?
He just gave his Cartel Aristocrat pro-white and attacked.
Yep, he shows him the hand of Searing Spear and Land, and that's it.
Next.
Andrew Cuneo wins
Keeping you
2-1
moving.
over Ben Freeman.
You not have augers in your deck?
No.
Hear them talking a little bit about, doing some post-match analysis. champion of the parish. The beat stick that draft. I mean that match.
Yeah, and you get a little sneak peek over at Raphael Levy and David Gleicher. We're going to be looking at Game 3 of their match, and if you'd like to relive that match, there's going to be test coverage over at dailymtg.com. Qualifiers for the next Pro Tour have begun. You could be on the big stage for Pro Tour Dragon's Mage, taking place May 17th to 19th in San Diego. For more information, visit wizards.com/PTQ.
And then we're switching over for Game 3 between Hall of Famer Raphael Levy and Pro Tour veteran David Gleicher.
It's a Chicago guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this match is going into its third game.
And it looks like they are keeping their hands and waiting for our hand editors. I guess that's a good thing to call them, hand editors, to get the first 7 cards in. And it looks like we have them. So let's take a look at what... we will soon have what Raphael Levy's hand is up on the screen.
So David Gleicher, by the way, is one of the newer members of Team Panic Fireball, this Channel Fireball Team Panic guys. So that's Michael Hetrick and Shahar Shanhar and those guys, and he joined with them. And they're playing a deck, it's a 4-color deck that they're calling the Prime Minister of Panic.
Oh wow!
And it's because it has Prime Speaker Zagana in it.
No way.
Yes, it does. This is a deck that has Abrupt Decay and Azurius Charm.
I love mana bases.
On the other side of the table, Raphael Levy is playing... he's playing a Bant deck. He's Thragtusk, Restoration Angel, Centaur Healers, and Augur of Bolus. And then just card drawing and some good spells.
Okay, just to get everyone caught up on the action in this game. Both players have played 2 cards, but 2 land, and then they both played Farseek. Back to you, Brian. But that's how these decks work.
I gotta tell you, there's no small amount of excitement at the prospect of seeing Prime Speaker Zagana.
I know you would love to see everyone start with that card in play.
No,
which
I would not.
Which would be weird because then they would just go to the graveyard.
Yeah, I had that happen at the pre-release.
Wow. Two lucky pre-release players have both having Prime Masters.
So I see Snapcaster Mage. Oh, I love Snapcaster Mage, Flashback, Farseek.
It's a good feeling.
It really is a good feeling because this is turn 3 here for David Gleicher.
Right.
And now he's got 5 mana in play.
And Raphael Levy is playing catch-up. All he can muster is a Augur of Bolas.
Yep.
I see a Farseek in the midst of those 3 cards. Not sure what the other cards were.
He has not played a land yet this turn, so he can do the same in his own fashion.
He could. So
and he will.
That is a Farseek. And if he has another land, we will still continue the mirror that is casting the same non-creature spells. So put a slight advantage for, a 1-3 versus a 2-1.
And there we go.
So is Raphael Levy winning?
Yes, he is ahead.
He's also at 20 with David Gleicher at 16, so. A lot of consideration as to what land to get with this Farseek. Looks like players going to continue while Raphael Levy finds the Sacred Foundry.
It's kind of amazing looking at these deck lists. There's just, you're so used to seeing modern decks, mana bases that look like this that are so punishing. There's something to punish them, right? There's whether it's a Fulminator Mage or
Titanic Edge.
And there's really nothing in this preying on these in this format. It looks like Glacier's deck is all non-basic lands.
Right. There really isn't anything other than Ghost Quarter that can interact with non-basic lands at a reasonable cost. So there's a Thragtusk for Raphael Levy. Speaking of reasonable cost, a 5/3 for 5 that gives you another 3/3. End of turn Restoration Angel, targeting the Snapcaster Mage, but not for any value. He just goes in his turn. Draws a card. Looks like it's a Godless Shrine. He's going to pay 2, go down to 14, so that he has 6 available mana. David taps 6, and there is the
Prime Speaker Zagana.
Ooh, your favorite card.
So that's going to get 3 counters, and he's going to draw 4 cards and have a 4/4 Prime Speaker.
That's fair.
Let me tell you a little something about Restoration Angeling that card.
Have you done it yet?
No, but I've had
the
actual
dream?
dreams about it. Not even, that's not a figure of speech. I've had actual dreams about doing that.
All right, so Raphael Levy takes his turn. And he's deciding which of 2 land to play, if any. Has a Centaur Healer, a Sphinx's Revelation, and a Restoration Angel to choose from. He could play his own Restoration Angel tricks, or leave mana up to do it on his opponent's turn. Maybe as a combat trick.
Or get himself to 30 with a Restoration Angel, or dig himself to another instant or sorcery.
First step is Hollow Fountain, and I believe he's considering whether or not to pay 2 life, and he decides to, so that he has access to that mana as well. So now he has, if he wants a Sphinx's Revelation, it would be for 4. And there's an attack with the Thragtusk. It's like Restoration Angel is going to jump in the way.
Yeah.
And now there's a decision. Does Raphael Levy want to allow this trade? Does he want to keep his Thragtusk and add Restoration Angel to the board?
Nah, he's like, oh, I'm happy with my 3/3. Get rid of your flyer that I don't
Yep.
really.
And that empty sleeve is actually a 3/3 beast token. So
That's
if
all
we
right.
can actually find a token, we're going to get that replaced.
They've been
But for
working
now,
with
just
these.
use
Once
your
a judge,
imagination.
always a judge.
Well, this is more like once a spider, always a spider.
Okay.
to be completely fair.
Okay, there's a Centaur Healer. More tricks with Restoration Angel.
More life. We are going to see how high we can go.
He can gain finite life with his Restoration Angel and his Centaur Healer.
So David Gleicher's taking his turn. Looks like he has a Sun Petal Grove. Hits the battlefield, and he has a lot of charms and instants in his hand.
Let's take a look at his hand here.
He's got Abrupt Decay, he's got another Restoration Angel, Azorius Charm, Detention Sphere, Sphinx's Revelation, a couple of Supreme Verdicts.
And a Watery Grave.
And a Watery Grave. I believe he played one of those already, because I don't see 8 cards in his hand at the moment.
The Restoration Angel, Augur Bolus whiffs. It doesn't totally whiff, he still has a Restoration Angel. But
Yeah.
the end of the turn.
And there is a Dissipate for Raphael Levy. There's a land. He's going to pay 2 more life. And he has plenty of life to pay. He's at 24. Usually it's a decision, but it seems like it's like a no-brainer now for Raphael.
Sure. Oh.
Right, so now everyone attacks.
he's got a
Raphael
3.
gets in with the 3/3 Beast, the Argo Bolus, the 3/3 Centaur Healer, and a 3/4 Restoration Angel.
And Raph knows he's going to be able to reload between now and the end of Glacier's next turn with that Sphinx's Revelation that he's been holding on to.
So he's totally happy if any of those end up being a trade.
Yeah.
Little math from David Gleicher. And it looks like we're going to block. Just one block, it looks like. Raphael's decided what he'd like to do. He does have a Keswick Wolf run that's been sitting in the wait for a while, and he can use that to force some damage through with all the mana that he has. But he's probably deciding whether or not he wants to deal the damage now, if he wants to just draw the cards and try to gain control of a stranglehold on this game. But David Gleicher has quite a few cards in his hand. He has, I want to say 6. Maybe it is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He has 7 cards in his hand. So
If only there was a handy way we could check.
Well, there is a handy way we can check. But there were 8 cards in his hand before, and it just didn't get updated yet.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just make sure. So the Prime Speaker jumped in front of the 3/3 Beast token. I believe that's the only block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Glacier's
6,
going
7.
down to 7 here.
Yeah, he is going to 7. Looks like Keswick Wukwan one is trying to make him go down to even lower. There was a Keswick Wolfron activation on the Beast token for, it looks like 2. And Azorius Chime in response gets rid of the Beast token for good. Abrupt Decay gets rid of the Centaur Healer, and now that attack doesn't look as awesome as it did before.
He's 10. He has the ability to untap and Detention Sphere that. To keep Gesture of Garrick.
Yep, Garrick Primal Hunter. Has a Watery Grave. Kind of decide whether or not he wants to pay 2 life to have access to that extra mana. He has 7 right now. Garrick Primal Hunter costs 5, and that would give him 2 more to use for his Azorius Charm that he also has in his hand. So if you'd like to play both of those spells, that would be... Oh no, that's not an Azorius Charm, that's still Detention Sphere. So he's probably going to play the Watery Grave tapped if he decides to play the Garrick Primal Speaker.
Get a look at what Garrick Primal Hunter might
Garrick
need
Primal
for
Hunter
things.
Does quite a few things. So 3 mana, it looks like it's going to be Detention Sphere.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that actually Garrick Wild Speaker in his hand? That's what it's saying on the, and not the Primal Hunter.
No, I think it's Garrick. Well,
It looks like Primal Hunter. Maybe that.
it did look like Primal Hunter.
Maybe it got spotted incorrectly.
I think it's actually Garrick Primal Hunter.
Yeah, certainly the art matches up. Here we go. Back and again that Keswick Wolfron representing.
A lot of damage. It looked like David Gleicher just passed the turn without casting any of his spells.
Yeah, played the Watery Grave.
4 mana is probably going to be a Restoration Angel.
6 additional minutes. No. There was only 2 minutes you guys were on. You were held between the two, so 6 total. Yeah.
So there was a block. There was a consideration probably to Restoration Angel the Prime Speaker, which you would have loved to see, but it didn't happen. And the mana is being saved for a Sphinx's Revelation for 4 at the end of the
But
turn.
he gets dissipated.
And it does get dissipated, so...
You know, we were laughing about the Abrupt Decay Azorius Charm. By the way, I just want to, Sphinx's Revelation, Keswick Wolfron over here.
I mean, why not? Just play whatever you want. That's the way Magic should be. Why let mana base be a barrier? 4 mana Supreme Verdict from David Gleicher clears the board. And now...
That is Primal Hunter.
Yep, Garrick Primal Hunter makes a 3/3 beast with his +1 ability. And Detention Sphere off the top for Raphael Levy, but he's not even going to play that right now. He's just going to slam this sphere, this Sphinx's Revelation, while he has the chance without any counter magic getting in the way from David Gleicher. 6 cards. 6 cards, 6 life. Life probably not so relevant.
Well, it could matter at some point. I mean, certainly Gleicher would have loved to have resolved his Sphinx's Revelation.
Untap from Gleicher. He's going to draw 3 cards with Garrick's -3 ability. Attack with the Beast. That's going to put Raphael Levy still at a healthy 25. And now Raphael Levy untaps with now 8 cards in his hand. One of them being another Sphinx's Revelation. He still has a Detention Sphere. He has a Restoration Angel. Looks like he has 2 Sphinx's Revelation.
Waiting on getting that hand information updated.
Restoration Angel drawn for David Gleicher. Attack for 3 with the Beast token.
Here you go.
We're gonna make another Beast with Garrick. He's asking the judge for an actual Beast token. Plays a land, passes the turn. Now, both of these players are playing semi-controlled decks. They both have a lot of cards in hand and a lot of mana at play.
I mean, they're both playing like Bant control decks.
Yeah.
Just we see a a generous sprinkling of black mana in the Team Panic deck.
Right. Now, how much of an advantage is this Garrick Primal Hunter in play for David Gleicher as opposed to, having extra Sphinx's Revelations for Raphael Levy?
I'm going to give it to the Sphinx's Revelations here.
Especially with the 22 life. That's a big padding right there.
He's going to be able to pick off the Garrick with his Restoration Angel.
And there's that Chroma's Memorial we were mentioning earlier.
6 minutes.
6 minutes left for these two players. Or a 6-minute time extension. I'm not sure which one that was. I just heard
okay.
I think it's a 6-minute
time extension.
I believe so, yeah. 2 beast tokens.
There's 7 mana. A Chroma's Memorial.
That's a card.
That is a card. It basically makes all your creatures a chroma, which gives them protection from red, protection from black, haste, flying, vigilance, and trample, I believe. Does also have first strike and first strike.
There you go.
There it goes. I like to try to beat the push tool to see if I could say what a card does. So this is going to allow Raphael Levy to do a lot of attacking and a lot of blocking.
This is, by the way, the last match being played in the room.
Wow. So this is it. So we're going to have a quick turnaround for you guys.
Yeah.
But right now, let's see how this game is going to end up.
Okay. And we see a Restoration Angel.
Just trying to help get in the way of some of these creatures. Now, the protection from red and protection from black part is going to play a big role. But the flying and the vigilance and the trample and the first strike, that's going to do a lot.
Yeah. So and remember, next turn when Raft untaps, he's got the Classic Wolf run.
Oh, wow.
On top of all of this.
Yeah, so whatever creature he targets is just going to deal massive damage no matter what's blocking it. So anything, the only real card that interacts anymore with that attacking creature would be a Azorius Charm. But David Gleicher does have a Detention Sphere in his hand. Now, is this a Chroma's Memorial that big of a deal that he just wants to get rid of it?
I think he might have to.
He has a bunch of mana, so he has a lot of options of how many cards
He could also
play.
get rid of...
Well, he goes, he's
Yep.
going to get rid of the Chroma's Memorial. Got a +1 Garrick, get another beast token, and he's going to pass the turn.
But Raph has been remarkably patient with his Detention Sphere. He's going to get maximum value out of that.
Now, he can't Detention Sphere the other Detention Sphere, because Detention Sphere actually says you can't.
Yeah, but he can Detention Sphere 3 beast tokens.
He certainly can get rid of 3 beast tokens. But right now, the beast tokens can't really interact with, say, this Restoration Angel.
So that is time, and then it's time.
So time's been called, so this is turn 0, as it were, and there will be 5 additional turns after this current turn for this match. So we have 1 block, Restoration Angel on Restoration Angel, and the second block is 3 beast tokens blocking another 3/3 beast token, 1 from Thragtusk. Raphael Levy has 2 Keswick Wolf runs in place, so he has the ability to split up his +X+O and trample. Now, the way that this block is happening, is David Gleicher representing any instant, like, hey, I dare you to Keswick Wolf run this guy, or
you can't know what's in Glacier's deck, right? Like, you can't look at that deck and just, your Azorius Charm, Abrupt Decay, Prime Speaker, Zagana build. Like, I know what you have.
Well, there's no red card, so you can eliminate all those.
You actually don't even know that for sure.
I guess you don't. It's like, man, you've been really unlucky to not draw your red mana. But Raphael Levy is deciding he's got his mana postured for 2 Keswick Wolf Run activations.
That's what we're going to get.
David Gleicher is only at 4.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's basically dead on board.
Yeah, so it doesn't take much from this activation to get the job done, as it were.
He's worried about, I guess, Sphinx's Revelation gaining life.
Yeah, or even another Azorius Charm. And just,
or an Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
On the token.
Right. I believe this might be targeting the Restoration Angel. I didn't get it just. I wasn't sure. Seems like the more appropriate target because there's so much toughness in front of the beast token.
Yeah.
They're doing math, and we all know that math is hard, so. Looks like there's just that activation, and Raphael Levy is content on passing the turn.
A little leeway. It was pretty much the final turn.
And there it goes. David Gleicher falls to Raphael Levy. Raphael Levy wins 2-1.
Hear a big cheer from the crowd for Raph there. Must have been quite a lot of people on the rail.
Maybe they were just cheering for the color combination. Like, I really love whatever Nephilim that is. All right, we're back. Rashad Miller, Brian David Marshall. That was round 5, and that was some good magic. That was some sweet, not a lot of Boros Reckoner. I'm used to seeing more Boros Reckoners in the round, but that was actually pretty cool.
I have gotten conditioned to reckoning.
Well, with that, we're going to send it back to the news desk. So you'll see us again in the next round?
Very soon.
Take it away.
Well, that round was quite the adventure, wasn't it? Who's playing what card? That card? How card? Seriously? I tell you what is serious. We've got a deck tech lined up. Without further ado, Conley Woods.
Hi, welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Zach Hill, along with deck builder extraordinaire and fan favorite Conley Woods.
Extraordinaire.
That's it. You can quote me on that. Exactly. Now, Conley, you could play any number of colors today. You got all 10 Ravnica dual lands, and yet here you are coming to bat with basically a mono-black control deck. Now, how'd you choose that today?
Well, the team was on a deck a few days ago, and the deck ended up, I don't know, the team kind of splintered off. We didn't really feel confident in it. So then everyone kind of played, there's like 4 different decks amongst the rest of the team, and I had been thinking of this mono black shell with Tripgast and Gristlebrand's and whatnot already. I didn't have a ton of testing into it, but it was just like, all right, we got 3 days, lock on Moto, just infinite games, and see how it comes out. And it was testing really well against the aggro decks. I didn't get to play against a ton of Jund or Esper, so I was a little worried about playing against it. But so far, it's pretty much as expected.
Cool. Well, let's take a look at some of the cards in the deck. Now, if you're going to play mono black, you got to have a reason. We've got Tripgast here. We've got Gristlebrand and Mutilate. All these are the cards in the deck that care about swamps. Walk us through exactly why these cards are so powerful.
So Cryptgast, beyond just enabling insane plays like turn 5 Gristlebrands, which is probably your best thing, assuming neither one gets killed. Just the huge mana output and Extort is actually extremely powerful. If you start chaining together Sign in Bloods or just random guys and they're all draining your opponent in a format where everyone's trying to get you from 20 to 0, that actually comes up to matter quite a bit. Also, even though he has a giant target on his head, as long as you play some other creatures to kind of disperse their removal a little bit, he actually sticks around quite often. Gristlebrand, I think everyone knows how powerful this guy is.
Well, I think everyone knows how powerful it is, but you don't normally see just 4 copies of Gristlebrand in a deck. You can't reanimate him. You're not doing anything tricky. You're just casting him.
It's pretty much the Sphinx's Revelation of mono black, if you will. The benefit is once he's in play, aggro also has to deal with this guy as opposed to just the cards in your hand, because he's going to give you you cards and be in play himself. So usually against an aggro deck, you're going to have to turn him sideways once before you start drawing cards, but against a control deck, you're often 18, 16 life, whatever, and drawing 7 cards is, you can do it instantly, and, then they kill him, and you've already Sphinx's Revelation. You're pretty happy. But yeah, he's like the big win condition and the big card advantage end game. So I wanted 4 of it. You could pitch extra ones to Liliana.
Sure.
And you really want one on as soon as possible that you can cast it. So
cool. And then Mutilate, obviously, Supreme Verdict is a thing. Is it worth playing 21 Swamps in your deck to cast Mutilate?
I think so. Right now, a lot of people are playing Boros Charm, and it gets around Boros Charm, the indestructible option, which is awesome. Also kills Falkenrath Aristocrat. I played in the first round. I played today. The guy had Falkenrath Aristocrat and a bunch of humans, but he couldn't make it indestructible and save it because Mutilate killed it. And it's just your Wrath effect. You need a Wrath effect if you're a control deck in this format. You can't afford to let them just play 4 creatures and expect a spot removal them all. So it's just your reset button, and it's been quite good. And you also, unlike Wrath, you get to sometimes do it for 6 with the Gristlebrand in play and leave your guy out, which is always
that doesn't
sweet.
Sound bad.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other cards in the deck now. Okay, so we've got other ways to kill stuff beyond Mutilate. We've got 4 copies of Victim of Night. Now, how did you decide that this was the removal spell you wanted?
So outside of the Jund matchup, this basically kills everything you want it to. Huntmaster being the exception. Jund happens to run Vampire Nighthawk and Olivia, so it doesn't kill those. But this is basically, in my opinion, the best removal spell in the format. The reason it doesn't get played is because it's double black. Once you have available double black every turn and you're not an Esper deck or whatever that is going to have colorless plus a black on turn 2, I just feel like this is the best at getting rid of Rancors, getting rid of Hell Riders, getting rid of Restoration Angels and Reckoners specifically, things that Ultimate Price doesn't do, things that Devour Flesh does inconsistently. Just a really all-around solid removal spell. I had it as a 2-0 for a while with 1 Ultimate Price, 1 Devour Flesh, and the more I played with it, the more numbers went up. Like I said, the one exception is when you play against Jund, it's not the most reliable, but basically every other matchup, you're pretty happy to just draw it.
For sure. Now, you're not quite a mono-black deck.
No.
You're playing a few red sources.
Yeah, 8 total red sources.
8 total red sources. One of them's for 2 copies of Dreadbore. Now, black is a color that's good at killing creatures. Why did you add red to a deck for a removal spell?
Specifically, this one down here.
Planeswalkers?
Yeah, you have some creatures, as we'll get to soon, you have some creatures to attack Planeswalkers, but it's not always the most reliable, and you're going to board them out in control matchups all the time. So this is the way to do that. It's also a 2-drop removal spell if you need it to be against random creature. Not being an instant is definitely a big deal, but just giving black a way to deal with Planeswalkers outside of Rakdos Return or direct damage is pretty big. So
cool.
yeah, mainly to deal with the Jaces and the Damirades who are popping up. Every deck feels like they have a Planeswalker somewhere in there.
Right.
So.
And just being able to point and click and get rid of it, obviously, very good. Now, speaking of Planeswalkers, we got Liliana the Veil. This is my pick for most played Planeswalker, so I like seeing her up here. Why is Liliana so good?
She just enables really strong plays. You have a lot of turn 2 plays that are strong against aggro, Dreadbore and Victim of Night being some of them, Gloom Surgeon that we'll get to in a second, but the follow-up play of Liliana is very strong.
Right.
Just making them sack any creature you're happy with against aggro. Against Esper or whatever, she's the best thing you can do on turn 3. She just applies a ton of pressure and makes them do things they don't want to do. Either they're discarding lands, so their Sphinx's Revelation isn't good, or they're discarding Sphinx's Revelation or whatever, and they don't really have a way to attack her, so that ticking clock up to 6 is very, very important.
And you actually use this ultimate right here sometimes?
Yeah. Against Esper, that's your end game is let's get the ultimate up as fast as possible and disrupt them a lot. And then against aggro, once she's used her -2, she sits there at 1, and they either attack her and she gains an additional 3 life, which I'm totally fine with. Kill a creature, gain 3 life is awesome in this format. Or they leave her in play, and they go for my life total, and I just get to use her as I want to see fit.
Totally. All right, so you do have some creatures in this 4 Mutilate deck. Now, this is a card that was selling like hotcakes at the dealers for some reason. Not something that I was really expecting. The Gloom Surgeon. You told me this guy was awesome. Why is this a good card?
So they're in the aggro decks. We call them mono red. They all have green or white or whatever.
It doesn't actually matter.
None of them are actually mono red, but they're basically red.
Yeah.
Most of their creatures outside of Flinthoof Boar and Reckoner have 2 toughness. It doesn't matter how many Rancors they have on it, it's still 2 toughness. And this guy comes out in turn 2, and they have 2 choices. They either skip their turn 2 play, or maybe turn 3 if they're on the play, to kill it with a Searing Spear or a Pillar
and you're
Flame.
like, sure.
And you're like, great, they're not advancing their board state. I'm going to take 4 this turn, that sucks, but, whatever. Or it sits in play, they go, I can't attack with this Cackler and this Ash Zealot, so I guess I'll pass the turn. And it just builds up, makes them overextend into Mutilate, very similar to how a Wall of Omens would or whatnot. And, it can get busy every once in a while.
Yeah, you can threaten a Planeswalker with it. Now, we know exactly why Nighthawk's good, again, against the
Great
aggro
curve
decks.
out. Again, if the one awesome thing about Crypt Gas in this deck is they have to aggro decks have to kill these two creatures.
Right.
If they don't kill these two creatures, they are really far behind. They can't advance their board state. They can't attack into you. So they're wasting their removal on these. Not wasting. They have to use it.
And
they're using
Crypt
removal on
Gas
these,
sticks.
and then Crypt Gas comes down to turn 4, and they're like, oh, it's a 2/2, whatever. And it's not Crypt Gas that's doing the scary thing. It's next turn when I untap and do all this nutty stuff that I'm gaining a bunch of life. That's awesome, and it really stretches the removal thin. And again, against like a Jund deck or whatever, just having a 2/3 death touch is more than fine.
All right, so rounding out the main deck, we've got to be able to get some card advantage really quick. We all know why card advantage is good. How do we get a Sign in Blood, Staff, and Rakdos?
You need your Think Twice effect or whatever, just like all the control decks do. Sign in Blood's really your best option. It's 2-drop. Not the best against aggro decks. The 2 life does matter, but it seals the deal later on in the game once you've kind of taken advantage. Staff of Nin is almost like a 5th Griselbrand. Very powerful. Yeah, very powerful against control decks. Just a strong play overall. Deals with top deck Falcon Wrath Aristocrats, which is important. And Rakdos' return. I have another one in the sideboard. Pretty much proven to be awesome against control decks. And
cool.
Also with Crypt Gas, you get them for big.
Yeah, like we saw. All right, so you've got to have land to cast your spells. Obviously, we've got Blood Crypt, Dragon Skull Summit, Swamp. Now let's take a look at the sideboard though. Slightly different numbers if we can look at the next slide right here. One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days. There we go.
Okay, there we go. We've got Duress, Slaughter Games. These are your anti-control cards, right?
Correct. Okay. Slaughter Games, your number 1 target is going to be Sphinx's Revelation, but depending on the matchup, you might name something different. Also protects you against counter spells a little bit by seeing their hand. Duress, very similar thing. Duress is particularly good at preempting a Griselbrand, because if you curve out perfectly and you have the turn 4 Crypt Gas, you'll have 10 mana next turn.
Oh, so
Duress
you
into
right
Griselbrand
into Duress.
yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. Okay, you've got more cards against control because you've got so much removal game one. Do you like going up to the 4th Liliana?
I actually bring her in against aggro too. I don't know why I don't have it main. I can't give you a good reason, but I bring her in I would say a little over half the matchup, so she's been pretty powerful. Just a strong turn 3 play. Underworld Connections, again, another
cards.
Staff of Nin-ish card, except you get to play it early before their counter magic's up, which is very important. And we already discussed this guy. You bring in another one. One awesome thing about Rakdos' return is if they go for Slaughter Games on your Griselbrand, it gives you like a huge way to win still.
Right.
I mean,
with Crypt Gas also.
Yeah, you can always win with like Crypt Gas and Nighthawks and whatnot, but this is cool that it's just like, boom,
it just ends the game.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, not all your cards are against control decks. You've got some additional juice against aggro, if we can take a look at that. You've got Pitting Needle, I'm assuming it's Planeswalkers.
Sort of. It's mostly for lands. Keswick Wolf Run, Nephalia Drownyard, Moorland Haunt. Cards, Gavany Townships, cards that black doesn't interact with.
Yeah, you can't kill those.
Yeah, so it's just nice that like if they have a Keswick Wolf Run, every single creature I have to either kill or, I could potentially take a million. So it's nice to have a little bit of an option. Devour Flesh, just another 2-drop removal spell.
It kills Geist to Sane Trap.
Yeah, you can sometimes you sacrifice your Griselbrand to gain 7. It happens. Rakdos Charm for Reanimator, and I chose it over like Tormod's Crypto whatnot because it's an instant, and occasionally somebody might play some artifact you need to deal with. Just a 1-of to go with the Slaughter Games to beat the Reanimator decks. And then Olivia, good against aggro, mostly in here for mid-range. A lot of decks cannot beat an Olivia. Again, they have Alternate Price or Victim of Night or whatever, and they can't kill her. And she sits in play, and she's just messes with everything they're trying to do, steals their Thragtusks.
Right. I mean, if they can't kill her, you win. Anyway, there's a mono black control with a little bit of red. I'm Zach Hill. This is Conley Woods here at the Tournament Center. Good luck, Conley.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to tell them what the match is on. We're going to go straight there. Rich, Zach, no time to talk. Brian Kibler against Tom Martell. Conley Woods against Guillaume Wafatapa. Gregor Petric-Maritic of Croatia against Makahita Mahara, the 2006 World Champion. And Kenny Oberg of Sweden up against Josh Utter-Leighton of the United States of America. Showtime, round 6, now.